5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
On my list of things to do, but beginning of school, my list has been...
It's not like you've had things to do.
No, I just play Minesweeper all day. Right. You guys are probably too young to even know what that is.
I play Minesweeper.
You know Minesweeper?
I just suck
You
at
do
it.
play
I play Minesweeper, Solitaire, Free Cell.
Oh, I love
suck
Solitaire.
at all of them.
I love
I still,
Solitaire.
I mean, I'm 45 years old and I don't know how to play Minesweeper. I just click
No.
buttons until it explodes.
I have no idea.
There's supposed to be some sort of patterns or something
I
to
got
it in
nothing.
there.
Yeah,
I think
the
if you
squares
know
around it
how to-
say how many bombs are around the square. It's fun.
That's
Yeah.
what that means.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah,
tell you.
I've been told numerous times it's like the same way of like how to tie like a trucker's knot. Nope, never.
I like brainy games. Like if you could find a book of it and like fill in. I like those. Like
Sudoku.
jigsaw puzzles. I do them.
Izzy loses it at Sudoku. Like,
You don't want to know me when I play Sudoku.
There's a movie, it's called Mercury Rising, where there's a puzzle and some little kid figures it out and you call the number if you solve the puzzle. And then that's how they know, like, it was a security test for some government nuclear program. So they try, then they try to assassinate the kid. So I think if you win at
Typical
Minesweeper,
Tuesday.
they red flag you.
And assassinate a child.
Yeah, they're like somebody figured out Minesweeper. Like, we got to take
Izzy,
him
you're
out.
next.
Speaking of, is it Sudoku or Sudoku? Either way.
Couldn't tell you.
I've heard it both ways, but I always say Sudoku.
So I saw this funny thing. There's two stories that are related. One is this guy bought like a Sudoku puzzle book and made like changed the puzzles like so that they were impossible and like put the book back at Barnes and Noble.
That's phenomenal.
Like scanned
Man, I
it,
wish I was that funny.
republished it where the numbers like wouldn't add up. That's like
hilarious.
And then I
was that
saw
funny.
a similar one. Might have been the same guy. Took a Where's Waldo book
Oh no.
and scanned it. Took Waldo out.
Oh my god.
Re-glued it like he was like a bookbinder guy. Took it back to Barnes and Noble.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
that's
Man, I wish.
it's like my wife tells me sometimes when I do silly things. She's like, just imagine if you used your powers for good. What fun is that?
Yeah, real.
Otherwise, the next 3 hours will go super quick. So.
Woo!
No, I'm kidding.
Pain and gain.
Usually in here like half hour, 45 minutes, but it does. I think it goes quick. It's
Yeah, it sure
usually pretty
does.
fun. So, what do we got on deck?
All right.
What's coming up?
We are about to do a production of Thornton Wilder's Our Town, probably one of the most recognized non-musical shows ever. Won a Pulitzer Prize. Edward Albee, who wrote Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, says it's the greatest American play ever written. It's a beautiful story. It's beautifully written, and it's just so much different than any other play that I've ever participated in. It's just it's not a drama, it's not a comedy, it's not a tragedy, it's just a look into life. Like the first act essentially is about life, and the second act is about love, and the third act is about death. And so, you get a little look into small town life in each of those scenarios. It's very, very well done.
I grew up in a small town. I can't imagine anything being theater worthy. Good grief.
I
But
probably grew up in a smaller town.
most likely,
Yeah.
mine was about 6,000.
Oh yeah, mine was 162.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine
Caledonia.
was 400.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. Before I
Sure,
moved
sure.
back to Farmington, mine was 400.
Yeah.
Good grief. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. The whole small town glorification thing, it's like, dude, you had to really grow up in one to be like, I don't know about all that. There's a few things that are charming, but at any rate, so I assume we have some cast members, or are you just people off the street? Everybody here in the cast? All right.
I suppose.
You want to just tell us quickly your name and maybe what character or characters you're playing?
I am Zabien Gusman. I am playing Charles Webb. He is the town editor for the town, and he just is just a regular home family man.
I'm Ashlyn Webb. I play Mrs. Webb, and I am the mother to Emily Webb,
And the wife, too.
and the wife to Charles.
I'm Emma Simmons, and I'm Emily Webb, the daughter of Charles and Myrtle Webb.
I'm Isabella Pinkel, or Izzy, and I play the stage manager who kind of acts as the narrator for the whole show and plays a couple very small parts throughout.
Oh, so this is where we have a narrator that like kind of part of things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
like
so
this.
cool.
So well
like-
done.
Yeah, and even like it's a breaking the fourth wall thing too,
Yeah.
because Izzy, the stage manager, will talk to the audience and will individually talk to characters on the stage and
Oh,
stuff too,
very cool.
and then kind of falls into certain scenes as a character as well too.
It's very like if you're familiar with a series of unfortunate events.
Sure.
And how
Yes.
Lemony Snicket puts himself in the story, and he also is like talking to everybody, but he's also like narrating, but he's involved in the scenes, but he's giving like a description of what's happening and what will happen at the same time.
I keep thinking about the snowman in the Rudolph story,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The Island of Misfit Toys, and he's like, "Oh no, what's going on?" And
Yeah.
it's got that's my
or
guy.
Zach Morris in Saved by the Bell.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
never really watched those.
Yeah.
Does he?
He would like freeze the scene
Oh, yeah.
and then
Oh,
talk to the
okay.
TV, talk to the audience.
It was
Interesting.
very surreal.
Well, of course, Deadpool now kind of
Right.
Yeah.
just pushes that to the nth degree.
Yeah.
The icon.
Really kind of took that and ran with it.
Yeah, they sure did.
So is this what's cast size? Small production, big
So
group?
for a non-musical, it's a really big cast. Most of your musical or straight plays are going to be 10 to 12 people. This one, we're pushing 30. We have 27, 28 in the cast, I think.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice. All like adult age, or are kids involved? Or
So actually, there's no young children.
Okay.
But one thing that really makes me happy is when we've been doing these classic writings, like when we're doing Shakespeare, when we're doing Thornton Wilder, stuff like that, we get more middle school and high school age kids to show up and audition than anybody. So majority of this cast is high school age kids. We have two gentlemen that are about my age, graduated in that late 90s, way back in the 1900s.
late 20th century.
Right, yeah. And so there's two gentlemen that are in the third act that are about that age, but pretty much everybody else is 20 and under. So it's really cool to see. We had a handful of people that were older audition, and they did a wonderful job, but it was really hard to mix ages to make it make sense.
Sure.
If Ashlyn,
Yeah.
was Mrs. Webb, and then the best Mr. or Mrs. Webb, and then the best Mr. Webb was actually 50 years old. It just, the picture wouldn't look right. Did you just say
Yeah.
yeah?
I said, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, within good
I thought
reason,
she
it was
was
a
like,
yuck.
yuck.
Not
moment.
yet.
Like Hamlet.
All right. But yeah, so it's a really young cast, and they're super duper impressive. I've worked with Emma and Ashlyn and Zabien before, and this is Izzy's first show with us, and we've got a handful of new faces that, quite a few actually. Probably more new than returning, I would say, or probably right down the middle. So
Yeah,
mix.
yeah,
Yeah.
constantly new people showing up every show, and that's a good feeling.
So you three have done shows with Jason before,
Yes.
Yeah.
both plays and musicals, or
Yes.
which do you prefer? Do you prefer straight dialogue, or do you like musicals?
I like doing the plays better because I'm very nervous to sing in front of people, but I really like doing the plays, especially Shakespeare. Like, Shakespeare's my favorite to do.
I don't know, because I like both of them for what they are, but I'd probably say that depending on what the musical is, I probably go for the musicals because honestly, like, other than Our Town, I wasn't really a big play person. I mean, I would do them and I would watch them, but it wouldn't be like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, it's like one of my favorite shows. But
Sometimes it's hard to get pumped up.
Oh
for
yeah,
plays.
like the
It doesn't have the
musicals.
same kinda energy,
Yeah, for the musicals, it feels like you're like sometimes you're more involved in it, just depending on what you get. But I feel like there's just like two different things that you can do for it. But yeah, I definitely think that musicals are my favorite.
What do you think?
That's a really hard question because I love acting and I love monologues, and you get a lot of that when you're in a play. But I would probably lean towards musicals. That's where my love for theater started, was in a musical, and so I just love to sing and dance. It's just fun. It's
Sure.
just fun.
So this is your first show at MAC or just ever?
At Mac, I've done a good amount of community theater before.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
mostly musicals.
Then the same question to you. Mostly musicals. Is that what you prefer? Or?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in this size of a straight play. Like, I think I've done like church plays and stuff maybe that had like music inserted,
Yeah,
but they
right.
weren't really musicals.
The classic.
But yeah, for the most part, I've really only ever done musicals.
So how's this experience been for you? Like the prep and the.
I've been loving it. I mean, the stage manager has a lot of lines to memorize, but it's been such good practice. And I think getting to work on acting, specifically reacting, because like I say a lot of monologues to the audience, but a lot of what I'm doing is off to the side watching what's happening. So I get to really focus on like, okay, well, if I'm in the audience, what do I want to see the stage manager's face look like in this moment? So getting to work on that and focus on it has been really great. Because in musicals, it's like so much of it is like, am I dancing well? Am I singing well? And so the acting is like, it's still definitely there, but it's not as big as it is in straight plays, because that's all you get with straight plays.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
acting and the blocking.
And so to give you an idea of the size of the line load that Izzy has had to take on for this show, Act 3 is
absolutely
only about
crazy.
25 minutes long, and the first 7 minutes is a monologue. You know, it's 4 pages.
7 minutes. Woo.
Oh yeah, it goes on for a
It's
long time.
right about
It's
7
awesome.
minutes. Every act starts out with a big monologue, and then there's a couple of decent-sized monologues throughout in the middle of the acts, too. I would say she has double the dialogue of probably the next 3 characters combined.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd go a lot quicker if you just skip every other page. Make it a mystery.
Yeah. And the cool thing is too is you know, I know I'm not the first person to ever cast a female stage manager. I know Helen Hunt did it on Broadway, and there've been some others too. But Izzy is also, to surprise most people, she's only 15 years old. You know, and I think that's incredibly impressive to have someone that is as mature as she is, that has worked as hard as she has, and I think she deserves a big audience, and they all do, you know what I mean? But her first experience with us, how well she's clicked with everybody in the show, and just the performance that she's doing is pretty astounding.
Well, this is, you know, audio only, but just, you know, for the audience at home, Izzy looks to be in her mid-60s. So, that's where the shock really factors in. I was also thinking, you mentioned like your reactions, like if you're at home like making like weird faces in the mirror and somebody like accidentally sees you and then just slowly backs away. What is this weirdo doing? Right. I'm in the mirror looking all crazy. So what kind of set we have for this? Is this pretty elaborate or simple?
No.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the cool thing with our town is that there is no set. And it was written to be that way. It's very minimalist. So literally we have 2 ladders and about 18 or 20 chairs on the stage, and that's it.
Yep.
And that represents everything we do in the whole show. There's one point that another little table comes out, but other than that, it's just 20 chairs and 2 ladders. And everything is like, you know, representation, and, you know, when George and Emily are in their bedroom windows talking to each other across the alleyway or across their yards,
sure.
they're literally just standing near the top of the ladders looking over them at each other, and they'll be in their own individual like little spotlights when that's happening. So, you know, it's really, really neat, and it's a different spin on things.
Very cool. Before we get too much further, and I kind of forgot, I wanted to get to this a little bit quicker, but tell me the website where people can get tickets. Is it mafinearts.org?
That is correct. mafinearts.org. If you just scroll down, you'll find it, or if you click the 3 little stripes up in the top left corner, it'll say Theater Productions, and you can go there and you'll find it there as well.
And when are the show dates for this?
It is the 13th, 14th, and 15th, which is next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. And the Friday and Saturday shows are at 6:30, and the Sunday show is at 3 p.m.
So today is the 3rd, late afternoon. So if you're listening to this, I'm expecting this to come out tomorrow morning, so the 4th. So you still got a little over a week, excuse me, to get tickets. Now, last time you had such a big crew that you were doing like cast rotations.
Yeah.
So that was pretty wild. How did that work out?
For the most part, really well. Everybody did a great job, but I didn't realize going into it how difficult it was going to be for like the sound guy who having
used to
because now he has double the work. With setting mic levels and having to readjust them every night instead of just locking it in and letting them go. And the band, if this character does that dialogue a little faster or slower than the other one did, it kind of throws the timing off and all that. It was a wonderful experience for all the kids that got to do it. It was a great experience for the understudies that got to go on Friday night. But, I think it did exactly what I wanted it to do. I just don't think that it was as cool for everybody else as it was for me.
Sure. Well, that's the kind of stuff you learn, though, from doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
I think we would just go into it knowing that from the beginning and planning accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, as like an audience perspective, because I seen like every version of the show pretty much. And I will say it was cool seeing like different faces for like the same show that you seen the night before. So some things were different, but it was like different to the point where it wasn't like, okay, here we go again. It was just, oh, that's a different take than what this person did, and it was very interesting.
I'll tell you what, we found some superstar kids in that show too.
Oh my gosh,
like,
yeah.
The talent in some of these kids that are 12 and under is mind blowing. Like it was crazy, and I mean that's why it was cast how it was. I was like, I can't pick just one. And I made myself make the executive decision day one that the group that was just a year or two older than the other group was going to get 3 performances and the younger group would get 2, because I didn't want it to feel like a competition. I didn't want to be like, all right, whichever one of you does better is getting 3.
Here's a knife.
Right,
There's only one of you's going to leave the room.
I think that's how you end up with like injuries in the show where a light falls
I don't
from
know
the
what
ceiling.
happened.
Right.
Darn.
People tripping each other as they go out on stage.
Kind of soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this gives me an interesting idea. What if you, at some point, the next time you're going to do a show, you just don't tell anybody what the show is. It is a complete mystery. You just buy your tickets and you get what you get. It's kind of like seeing a rotating cast. Like, there's a play coming up,
right?
But we can't tell anything about it.
Yeah,
it's family friendly, but
Maybe.
Or
you'll find out.
I would say you would give them that much. You'd say,
Yeah.
Here's if you're running Sweeney Todd or something, you'd have. But
Right.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you ran something that was maybe a comedy that was family friendly, you could just say theater production X. Like, it's unreal.
Right.
That could, that I don't know. That
Pick
could
your
be
poison.
a fun spin. Like,
It's a fun idea, but
risky.
yeah, I think so. Because it would be terrible to pay for the rights to something
And then nobody shows up.
Nobody shows up. Right? And you can't hold auditions until you hold the rights.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a left fielder, but
They all get there, and it's just something that I wrote.
Surprise. It's just me doing, miming stuff.
It's just the same monologue 500 times over.
And everybody's interpretation of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who was was it Andy? Who's the comedian from the 70s that used to do
Andy
Kaufman?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like one of his kind of things.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just ridiculous. Oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. It's been one day this week, and it's already been a long week. But with the start of school, it's just been a bit overwhelming. So I'm assuming, well, I don't know if you're maybe taking MAC classes, but I'm assuming you're still in high school. What, is anybody else a MAC student, or?
She's the only high schooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all out of high school.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. I Izzy, like, she's 15. I'm like,
Right.
I'm assuming you're still in high school, but I didn't know if
Yeah.
you happen to be taking any classes.
Well,
or
I'm in high school. I'm homeschooled, but I'm dual enrolled in classes at Jefferson College. So
Boo.
I know.
Traitor. That's fine.
They live in DeSoto, Hillsborough
Okay, I
area.
got you.
So.
I'll allow it. That's fine.
So they're making the journey down here 5 nights a week.
Okay.
It's about like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been worth it. I've been having a blast. So.
Well,
Good.
I'm glad you think so.
And then you're all out of. Are you MAC students, or are you just working in the community, or?
No, I'm kind of just doing my own thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I'm not judging. I'm just curious as to how just connecting as a community member to the theater program. Any dreams of? I don't know if the word going pro is right, but I do know that we've had a history of people moving on, whether it's doing wardrobe stuff in New York and LA, or stuff like that, or is this just kind of like I really enjoy it, but it's not my life kind of thing?
I'd really like to go to a slightly bigger stage, like the Fox or the Muni. Like, that would be amazing, but I doubt it'll happen, but it's really cool to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm building to hopefully start going into more film and stage acting and directing, because I've always been a big film fan, and I love everything about it. I think it's so diverse and you can do absolutely anything with it. But I also do want to keep my connection to where I pretty much got my start, because I really got my confidence doing these theater productions. So I want to keep going, because I've seen a lot of these big actors that you see, they're still doing theater productions. They're still doing one-man shows on stage in front of millions of people. And so I want to keep that connection, but I also want to do more with it.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Any thoughts of grandeur?
I don't think so. I used to when I was younger, but it's just a hobby for me. I just enjoy it, and it's something that I can do that makes me happy.
I think for me, I haven't, just as a younger child and stuff, I never really had this is my dream job. So the only thing that I ever really wanted to do in the first place was theater, because I grew up doing shows with my mom and my brother, and my dad would play in the pit, and that was just what I did. And so that's just kind of been my main goal. And I have had a more recent interest in the world of psychology, and I'm taking a psych class at Jefferson College, boo. And, so there's that, but I mean, for the most part, I don't know, theater has just been it's been my main hobby. It's been my favorite thing to do. Musicals and now straight plays, I just have such a blast with it. So if I could get to a higher level, that would be awesome, even if it's something smaller like the Muni or something like that. If there's a world where I could get paid to pretend to be someone else, that would be awesome.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
For years, I got paid to pretend to be a good teacher. So it's doable. Chase your dreams.
There's a chance.
So kind of an interesting connection. Izzy's dad and I worked together some time ago at Mid-America Transplant, which we were in the organ and tissue donation business. And we weren't icing people in bathtubs or anything like that, but
That was my follow-up.
yeah, I figured I'd beat you to it.
Smart.
Right, yes, smart. But we essentially like talked to the families and talked to the doctors and all that sort of stuff, and then found out by working with him that he was a really good musician, great saxophone player. And then through him, I met his wife, Sherry, who, when I started working here, she was directing theater at a place in St. Louis. So we were kind of swapping costumes and props and stuff like that. And then got to talking to Jeff again for a little while. And then they ended up both being in the pit band for White Christmas. And then that's when I, kind of, so it's kind of crazy how small the world is that, this guy that I worked with was an incredible musician, and so is his wife. And she's a great flautist and piano player. So, yeah, they kind of fun to have that group around because there's a lot of talent in the group too. And there's a brother too, right, Miles? Miles apparently is a good actor and singer as well. He was their Harold Hill when they did Music Man and their little theater group up there.
Oh, yeah. Nice. He's real good. And I'll make sure to say that in case he listens to this.
Right. She's and he's handsome.
I'm intrigued by the flute piano combo. It's like, let me choose the most portable and least portable. In my
you gotta
arsenal.
have a balance.
Yeah. I've always been fascinated by the costumes. I know we've had, I can't remember her name, but her mom had done the costumes a couple different.
Yeah, Jody.
Oh, yeah.
And that always kind of made me laugh.
That she was voluntold.
Yeah, that she's in the basement, like working till 4 a.m. Like, I gotta get these costumes done.
And every time
And
she's
she
like,
gets
I probably won't.
I won't do
that
it again. Yeah.
And then
she
she'll
does
be like,
And kills it
so for
every
that
single
show, were you gonna need somebody?
You're like, yes.
And it's always like she always gets the best outfits too. Like it just works.
Well, and London, her daughter,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
much like Reagan, who did some shows with
yeah.
us, they make their own costumes.
Oh yeah.
Quite often, and Reagan did a number of shows for us and had never sewn anything in his entire life. And one of the girls in the show was like, I can't find a dress for what I need that fits down there. And then he was like, okay, he's like, I'll get a pattern and I'll make you a dress. And we were all like, yeah, okay. And he came in like 4 days later and had a beautiful, like, pleated and like all these like crazy, like, this was tucked in and that was it. And it wasn't just like he sewed panels of fabric together. He did like super,
Oh, yeah.
And so from then on, every show he would always make his costume and usually somebody else's too.
Yeah.
And London's that way too. She super creative in almost anything you could think of.
Yeah, Reagan actually made my dress for Hamlet.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me after the show. I was like, I want to keep this. He's like, okay, you have it.
Sure.
What am I going to do?
Right. Yep.
Because it's just this big poofy dress.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it takes up space.
I'm just thinking like a modern version of a small town. You really wouldn't need costumes. Like, you could just get a Mountain Dew T-shirt and Cookie Monster pajama pants. Like, there's your, that's your small town wardrobe right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Who farted T-shirt?
Right.
Just go to Walmart and just like study.
Get the most ridiculous shirts.
Yeah, back when I was younger, you could tell by still the Mountain Dew, but they would usually have a Tasmanian Devil shirt on.
Oh yeah,
that was the
Looney
big one.
Tunes.
The
were-
fine
yeah.
china.
Yeah,
Or
Taz and Tweety Bird were
Tweety
real
Bird.
big,
Oh,
was
yeah.
big.
Oh, yeah.
and the small town attire.
You also had the purple Anaheim Ducks starter jackets.
Yeah, and the Charlotte Hornets.
Hornets was a
the
big one.
pullovers. Yeah, everybody had that teal Charlotte Hornets pullover.
Yeah.
We're showing
Yeah.
our age. None of
I
you
think I
understand
even
what's
had
happening
one, and
right
I'm
now.
not even a fan of it.
You are. I think I'm gonna start tight rolling my pants just to see if I can bring it back.
I don't wear long pants enough to do
Yeah.
that. I have like shorts year round kind of
I'm
guy.
getting to the
Yeah.
age where it's getting harder to just get that far bent over, so I just like my shoes stay tied and I just kick
Just
them on
slip
and
them
off.
in.
Yeah. Whatever works.
Yeah, as it gets colder, my pants don't get longer, my socks do. So
Oh, yeah.
when the cold weather comes, I start wearing the over the calf socks. So
Yeah.
my
Gotcha.
knees get cold still, but that's about it. My chapped knees.
Anybody who's still listening's like, I tuned in to hear about our town.
And now I'm still here.
It's like, what am I doing with my life?
Every minute.
What?
How did we get to this?
Why do I relate?
Well, just so not everybody's here till midnight, go to mafinearts.org to get your tickets. You said the 13th was the first
13th,
show?
14th, 15th.
Okay, so that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Very
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that's a good omen for opening a show.
Yay.
cool. Oh, it's, I like the little cartoon where it's like Jason's in his mask and he's got one of those calendars and he pulls it off and it says Friday and it says 12. And he's all sad.
Yeah.
Just this close.
Yeah, so that's easy to remember. Friday the 13th is the first show, Saturday and Sunday. So you got 3 chances. Get your tickets. It'll fill up, I know, as it gets closer. But appreciate everybody coming in. It's good to have some new faces in and some new perspectives. So.
Yeah. And if anybody out there has 2 8-foot wooden ladders,
Yes.
I'd like to borrow them between now and the 15th.
Oh, we should have got that at the beginning. I'll put a thing at the beginning, like a news bulletin, like beep 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 beep.
Yeah. So what he's saying is he knows nobody's going to stick around to the end of
Yeah,
this.
right. Yeah. I feel
It's
like
all because of the chaff knees.
one of these days I'm gonna get prizes. Maybe I'll talk to the bookstore, Aaron, and be like, if somebody can prove to me, I'll set up an online quiz.
Yeah.
Where I can't just
Yeah.
skip to the end. Like,
What did Jason say that made everybody feel weird?
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be like the one question that's on every quiz.
There's one of those.
It's like
in
there's
every
one that says
episode.
all of the above.
Yeah.
What didn't he say?
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. So tryouts then, because we always talk about this, because once this production's over, what do we have on the horizon?
So we're still waiting for the rights to be official, so we can't advertise it.
Okay.
But we're going to have auditions on September 22nd for a musical version of that Will Ferrell Christmas movie. That's
Okay.
really funny.
So it's a musical because you alternate typically.
Yeah, typically. But I think next year we're actually going to have non-musicals and 3 musicals in a row, and then a non-musical. Just because I want to do a play at Christmas instead of a musical next
Gotcha.
year.
Sure,
So
sure.
Okay.
Thinking about something along the lines of "It's a Wonderful Life" or something like that.
Very intrigued. Very intrigued.
So the next show will be musical.
Yep.
Tryouts that's usually a Sunday,
Yep. Sunday, September 22nd at 2 p.m.
2:00, and they can just come to the theater.
Yep. Show up at the theater, wear shoes you can dance in, loose-fitting, comfortable clothes, and have a 1-minute vocal audition prepared. Bring your accompaniment on a Bluetooth device. We'll play it through our sound system, and you'll sing it right in front of everybody.
And is this information can they also find on the mafinearts.org?
Sort of.
Maybe.
Yeah. I know it's somewhere posted, but I
Okay.
yeah.
Well-
When we actually announce it, it'll have all the instructions.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, someone who has made it this far, that's their bonus, is they know to be prepared for
Right.
auditions. So
It definitely
very
helps.
cool. Do you think are all of you thinking about doing the next musical?
I'd really
so.
like to.
I think I want to take a break for that one and
Yeah.
then come back in the spring.
All right. Fair enough.
I don't really know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and say I think Emma here has done twice already.
I've done
haven't
it
you? Oh,
twice
I mean,
already.
that
Yeah.
Christmas.
I'll beep it. It sounds like
The
you.
Christmas. I've done this Christmas musical twice.
Don't listen,
before.
don't listen.
Like Emma Simmons has done beep.
Redacted.
Yeah. I've
Just
done
act
this-
like you didn't hear that.
And I've done the same character both times. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see where that would get a little redundant.
It's going to be on your do not want.
Yeah.
Within reason. Within reason.
Accept any role.
Except this one.
Very cool. Well, it was good to meet and talk to you all. And whenever we get ready to roll out Musical X, we'll have some people come back in. It might be some of you, it might not be. But even if not, maybe down the road for another show. You guys can. We've had several cast members come in for more than one episode,
Yeah.
so it can't be that painful to sit and talk for a few minutes. But
Right.
cool. So yeah, everybody out there hanging on. That was like, that chapped knees kept me going. Yeah, get your tickets, and thanks for listening.
Thanks
We'll
for
catch you
having
next
us.
time.
We
Absolutely.
really appreciate
It's
you
always
doing
a
this
good
for us
time.
every show.
Cool.
Except for Romeo and Juliet, which Ashlyn's pretty upset about.
I suppose, but it's all right.
She was Juliet. So we didn't do a
Okay.
podcast.
Sorry. Yeah, things happen. We didn't manage to squeeze one in for that, but yeah,
It's
hopefully
fine. It
we'll
sold
get
out
on.
pretty good. So.
Yeah.
Look, I love having people come in and talk, and we do get some listeners, but I'm not exactly driving ticket sales. So,
Yeah.
it's not like we ruined the show by not having a conversation. Now, maybe, if this thing kind of catches on, you never know. We might sway some people out there that might be on the fence, but I think otherwise it's just a good chance for people to come in and promote kinds of stuff they're working on. Theater. We've had teachers come in, sports stuff like music. We did a music one for fine arts. So, yeah, you never know. Weird people could be love the sound of my voice for some reason. But cool.
Get that man a contract.
Yeah.
Anything we can have that helps us promote, and even just the people in the show, it gives us something that we get to keep.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Oh, yeah.
That sound file is always going to exist, and we're going to have access to it and be able to hear, remember when, whatever. So it's I enjoy listening to them. I really do. And,
Well, and you could always contact the Library of Congress because they're knocking on my door for
Right.
copies
Yeah,
of
of
these
course.
Sure.
for American archival reasons.
Real.
Foundation of our country.
So if I run an interview like through an AI generator, will it pick this up? And
Maybe one of these days I won't even have to sit here. I'll just have like a
Right.
hologram
Just
of
a sound
myself.
bite.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.